Really sure how heavy I'll be able to get on front squats or how they'll feel, but definitely want to do them today. I would say the minimum is 150, and there's not really a true maximum, but I'd say probably like 175 or 180, but I don't think I'll be able to get that heavy with them. 150 for sure, and then pulls. I might do the same exact thing I did earlier this week and go to like 200 and then do drop sets. And seemingly had a pretty positive impact on snatches. Not so much on clean jerks, but front squats will help those for sure. So we will see. But front squats first. The first session in a very long time that I've just started with front squats. She don't like doing them. That's usually why. Okay. Hit the vibes. Really, I don't know why I'm going to take the same jumps as... But, like, I'll do the same jumps as I would do with cleans. I don't need to. That's a bit excessive. We're going to go 70, 110, 140, 160, and then see how that feels. But we got the heavy knee wraps. We got our belt. We have all the tools to go hog wild with them. And I guess I'll just leave the crash pads there. I'll take them off when I'm doing pulls, of course. I don't really care about dropping the weight on the ground or on the platform, but just leave them there since they're already there. The neighbor's been going hard trying to fix one of his cars. A lot of really good work ethic. He's been at it all day long. I would have given up many hours ago, but I'm not really sure what's well, I'm not a cargo person, so I can't even start to articulate a coherent hypothesis. But he's trying to get it to go. I thought he did get it to go for a little bit. He drove off and then came back, but who knows? Hopefully he gets it to work. I mean, he's put a lot of time into it, so I mean, I hope he gets it working. Alright. So we'll throw the dance shoes over there. We don't need them on point yet, so I haven't warmed up or anything. I'm doing a good amount of stretching today, so see how limber I feel, but I don't normally feel too immobile. Mostly just sore. Quite warm. It's weird, like in my house it's cold, but outside it's like mid 60s. It's like my house just is keeping out the heat really well, which would actually be good for the summer. Not so much on these in-between days. I almost want to open up the windows, but those are quite warm enough for that. A new spider web hit me up. Can't see it from here, but I think it's remarkable. I think he stopped it. No, it's not. Random people. I don't know why you said that, but I appreciate it. I dig it. Shouldn't feel too bad. Not yet, it's only the bar. I don't need the most muscular arm yet. But we will throw. I get a new email. Okay. We'll do the bar again. Put my knee wraps on and then just jump up and wait. But not too sore. Nothing is really achy, which is always good. But you truly don't know how you feel until you put some weight on the bar. We can at least get my dance shoes on. Feels weird to the first rep, or just squatting down there felt weird because I didn't have shoes on. Always feels like I'm in the incorrect position just because I'm gonna be pitched over more without heeled shoes on. Also need to find wrist wraps. Those are usually really useful for me for burping and for front squats. Left quad feels weird, but it's the Doomsday Shed. I guess you can't really see the. No. From my angle, I can see the crack of the door, so you can see the daylight, but kind of sounds like Doomsday outside. We'll throw this on. Do 70 for at least a rep, maybe more. Probably just a rep though, maybe for multiple singles. Like I said in the beginning, the goal is at minimum 150. But I'm probably not even going to go to 150. I'm probably going to jump right to the 140 to 160. So we shall see. All right. ¿Dónde está? Quad feels weird. Like on a higher part of it. Usually if I have like quad tendonitis or something, it's usually a bit lower. No, I'm Jim. I'm not Christian. 110? Honestly felt like I moved that really fast, so we're gonna take the Chad jump. Just go right to 150. So this will actually be the minimum that I would like to do today. Feels bad, move slow or whatever, it's fine. I still got a couple weeks to, I mean, my legs are strong enough, I just don't have the practice of the front squat. So, works for all my cheating equipment on. Only I use fake weights too. I could really lift some heavy numbers. Alright. But body feels pretty good, surprisingly. So no reason not to go hard. Not looking to do volume in the front squat though. That will just hurt. That will just volume in the back squat, and then practice the front squat. Alright. Curious how this feels too. It's a big jump. Haven't really done a front squat in a week or two. Alright. 150. Really easy. Pleasantly surprised, especially jumping from 110. We're taking another Chad jump and go to 175. Based on how 150 moved, and based on how big of a jump I took to get to it, this one should move pretty well too. Very well could be the top single I hit though. But be confident with it. Big belief. Hold the position and trust it. Alright. Saw a mosquito too, that's how you know it's warm. Alright. Misangu. Oh, no. Oh, we gotta do it again. Felt so good. It started slipping and rolling and yikes. Oh, it's there though. Got dizzy. Well, everything that could have went wrong went wrong. Oh, the weight felt good. I just want to go up, but kind of should hit this before I do. We're gonna ball it out one more time. Man, that stinks. Alright. Yeah, load it back up. Alright. One more crack. I mean, honestly, it was like 90% of the way up. I just, like a weird combination of like, it started to slip and I started to get a little dizzy. Let's go. Yeah. Alright. That shit down on the first. No. Alright. Redo these reps and contemplate going up or not. We'll see. 175 is more than I thought I'd be able to do, but if I hold my front rack and maintain on the dip down, I can do more. Leg strength is definitely there. So I think we do. As we go to 182. And we go all out. No mercy. Because that one I truly, I got hyped up a little bit, but there's another level to it. This tells me, good thing go mas. Good thing go mas peso. So, 75, 77, 82. We need the forbidden jitsu. Alright. Get the reps on. up, Ree? About to try 182. I missed 175, made 175, but the 175 missed. Kind of was slipping, kind of was dizzy. The weight felt like, obviously I came back and made it, so weight felt good, but it was like 3/4 way up, and I was like, get off me. We're releasing the hidden jiu-jitsu. We're releasing the hidden jiu-jitsu, which is black shape. We're gonna get hyped up. That was the other thing too, before you guys hopped on. I wasn't really getting like crazy hyped up. Definitely was, but I wasn't like, wasn't getting wasn't freaking out. Now, we're ready to freak. But no volume in the front squat. Do this and then snatch first. What do I see? Black shape. I even messaged their, it's cool band. I sent a message on Instagram when one of their videos in the background of one of my lifts. So in the background, a lot of them. I definitely don't have more though. If you notice at the bottom, that dip down. Even if I can stand it up pretty well, I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting like this. I fight like it's scared child position right in there. But no, I haven't done 182 in a bit. I've tried 185 a couple times in the past couple months, but I think 180 is the most I've done recently. And I mean, to come back and make 175 and then make that, that's really good. And sets me up really well, potentially. So what I was thinking about, as I get closer to the meet, what I'll probably do, like next week will be the heaviest back squat I'll do. So this week I did 230. Let's say I don't really care if I do more, but I'm gonna do probably 230 as well, like repeat that weight, and then go to 240. And honestly, that would be psychopath behavior because that's my PR. 230 felt like it did today, or when I did it earlier this week, than to try like 242 or something. But I'm also not worried about like if that happens or not. What I do hope is that I can at least do 230 again, and then
whether I go up past there or stop there or go up and miss, it doesn't really matter. Um, just the idea like that if I'm going to do the heaviest front squat or back squat, it's going to be that day, and then either repeat this front squat next week without the miss with 175, or potentially go up um, to do, I don't know what jumps, but like something more than 183. Um, I kind of want a front squat more, not more weight, but do more. My best front squat ever is like 190. It's 420 pounds, whatever that. It's like 191 or two. I don't. I always forget the kilos. It's the only lift I do that I always forget. Well, because I suck at front squats. Thanks, free. Yeah, I was. I've only done that though once. I've done 190 a couple times. My best double ever is 185. Or no, that's a lie. 180. That was like reps for front squat for me are like exponentially more difficult. Like my best set of five is still 150 because I have not never been able to try. I never really cared about trying more, so I could easily try to PR that. But like it hurts so bad on like my wrist and front squat, as you know, you notice there on that rep, like I'm pitching down. That gets more extreme the more reps I do. So it's a exponential regression from what I should be able to do from what I can do, or what I can do for reps for the versus the intensity. I think is the correct for the shit, but yeah, 180, 182. Got real nervous at the bottom when it pitched forward a little bit, but we got it. But yeah, I'm real happy about that. So it's strength is definitely there. What was really weird, I haven't posted this video yet, but I snatched 123 again yesterday, and of course I missed 120 the first time, but it was truly, and I don't like to use this as a scapegoat a lot, but sometimes it really is a thing. The thumb tape slipped on the first 120, and I could feel it as I went under, and it just left it out in front. And there's physical evidence after because the thumb tape was up, so I took the thumb tape just off my left hand, then made 120, then made 123, and honestly, the 123 looked better than the 120 I made. But like the weights moving up just all felt really good. Honestly, the hardest part is keeping the thumb tape on. So um, at the meet, I'm not going to use it just because it doesn't matter. You're just doing singles, so I'm not worried about preserving anything. But honestly, with how like my thumbs are starting to feel, I might use it to like 100 kilos and then take it off. Because that's where I've noticed, like if I don't have it for like a whole session when I'm snatching, like eventually like the top sets, like I start to feel, the wear and tear of the skin. But if I kind of reverse the thumb tape, then I don't have the issues with it slipping, or if it does, with 90 or 100 kilos or whatever, it's not a big deal. I can usually still make it, even if it is kind of slipping a little bit. But then I don't have to think about it with the top sets. Um, but what was strange about it wasn't that, well, I guess partially that I snatched really well. Well, I wasn't really anticipating that. But then I clean and jerked weirdly. So I made 140 and it felt difficult. But then I missed the clean with 150. It like bounced off the front of me. And then I clarked the second attempt with 150, which was really bizarre. But like once I was pulling on the second time, it was, I mean, the speed I knew the speed of it was plenty because like I had it like pulled like rode up and like power basically power rode it up. But I just didn't have any commitment to go underneath, and um, I'm not really sure why that is. If that's from the like fatigue from the back squat necessarily, but it doesn't make any sense why I would snatch well and then like cleans would feel really difficult. So that was weird, but I was glad I made the lifts building up to that, and I kind of knew like even with like 100 kilos that like it just isn't like popping super fast, which then made me like I wasn't really upset. I was just more confused because like I was like how did I even snatch well when like my the speed wasn't there clearly, but just means my technique in the snatch is getting more consistent, I suppose, which is certainly an encouraging thing. I mean, the more I can hit 123, the better I'm going to feel. Because honestly, the more I'm thinking about it, the more likely that I'm going to go to 127. If I open 123, 127, then 130. And then making 127 would be a competition PR. So it's already a good number to take in general. And then 130, obviously, this is would be a competition PR on top of that, but also just a good number to hit in general. So I don't necessarily. I think that's one mistake I made last year when I was prepping, is I tried to go heavy in the snatch too frequently, and the reason I did that was to build confidence in the high weights, because I was having, ironically, like issues with my shoulder even then. That was prior to the injury, but like having issues with the lockout on that side. Um, Kind of unbeknownst to me, but mostly unbeknownst. I didn't really have pain or anything, but anything. I might have had some prior, but yeah, I certainly wasn't injured prior to that. But I did have lockout issues prior. But I kept trying to go heavy, and sometime during the prep I was able to make 130, but it was really difficult, and I was just really inconsistent with the top weights. But now it's like, even though I'm missing, like the last two heavy snatch sessions, I missed 120. Like I came back and made them pretty routinely, and then made 123 after, and was able to make the corrections, and all the weights building up are good. So in the back room I'll do 120 once or twice. Apparently I'm going to miss it at least once, but so for Olympic weightlifting, for me it's a local meet. If you're at like a high level meet, you go by weight class, and then you compete against the same people in your weight class. But because I'm in a local meet, it's just it's just one session. So like, if you or I were both in the same competition, you, me, and Reed, we'd all be in the same flight, and we would just continually go up. So it's not really. I guess for some people, they care about what they do relative to other people. Like for a local meet, it really isn't relevant, because I'll probably be, if I'm not the only 109, there might be one other person. There's very rarely good. I don't want to say good competition at 109, but like, you go to a local meet, you're not going to have a lot of like bigger people like me in general. And if they are, they probably aren't that good at lifting, or at least like lifting heavy enough weights. There's usually one person in the last couple meets I've done that has snatched really close to me. And there's obviously been a bunch where there's people that are stronger in both, but where I usually go in the Columbus place, usually it's been one person that can snatch to like 120 or something, and then the clean jerks, I'm usually the last one. But there always could be someone that's trying to qualify for like the American Open final or something. I know the first meet I ever did, there was someone that I want to say clean and jerked, or at least he attempted 170, between 170 and 175, and then he cleaned 180 or 182. And there was someone that was, I think he was probably back then 77 kilos or maybe lighter, and he snatched like 130 or 135, which, seeing the speed, it's just kind of crazy. But he was like built like a wrestler. He had a lightweight wrestler build, but he was really strong. Wish I would have known who that was. That would have been back in like 2017, or I think. But yeah, he was really fast. That was like what you notice with guys that are smaller and obviously stronger. They move really, really fast. But the other guy, he was probably weighed like 250, 250. Like he was a super heavy technically, but he wasn't like really fat. I always feel mean when I say that, but like I feel like it's pretty objective. Like if you weigh, like if I at my height weigh like 150 kilos or 140 kilos or even 130, like I would call myself fat. So I don't know. Maybe that's insensitive to other people, but like I feel like if you're a 109 plus, there's a difference between being like 245 and 285. And I don't think there's really anyone that's going to be 285 and shredded that's able, that is allowed to compete naturally. I mean, that'd be pretty wild for anyone with any compound. But let alone for someone that's at least pretend to be natural at a competition. But yeah, and it doesn't mean like they're not strong. I don't know that. And I guess also like for me, it's like it's not. In theory, you get stronger if you add more weight. Just always in a surplus and always trying to get stronger. But at a certain point, it becomes a detriment as far. Like I really think, because now I'm like 237, 238. So it's whatchamacallit. So like at anything more, if I was like 245 or 250, like I feel like I would just get too slow, even if my strength numbers went up. And so with weightlifting, it's kind of an interesting balance because you obviously want to fill out your frame, but I think Clarence Kennedy talked about this a lot, and it's a huge advantage when you're able to take anabolics that you're able to kind of really hone into your weight and able to like really fill out. He's like 100 kilos, you're able to really maximize it. I think if he wasn't taking those supplements, he probably would weigh a little bit more, not to get to those same numbers, but to get to like what his best strength would be. Just because it'd be a little bit harder to maintain or like build that kind of muscle and stay lean enough to weigh that much. But also is a speed thing too, because no matter what's going on, you have to feel like you can move under the bar fast enough. And that's a big difference in powerlifting. I mean, powerlifting, you can kind of just perpetually get stronger and fill out any weight class you want. It's just speed you don't really, as someone that has too much strength and can move slow, it's really not important for weightlifting as much, nor does it hold you back. But I think I'm gonna do, because I waited a while, I was like, I'm gonna do some weights with 140, but I'm gonna do a little bit of work with 110. I'm gonna put the wraps back on though, because I'm a baby. But I'm very excited, Reed, though. I put together a couch. I almost went live when I did it, but you never know how dumb you are when you're putting something together. It wasn't very complicated, but I certainly looked dumb with a couple of mistakes I made. But I got rid of an old couch, which hasn't been gotten rid of entirely. The trash company, they do like pickups, but I emailed, they didn't respond. I'm like, I could call, but I'm like, I don't really want to. And I also was kind of curious, like, if I could just rip it apart myself. The couch I have now, I could just take apart. It wouldn't be that big of a deal because it's a cheaper thing. So it's just, a bunch of screws and whatnot. But my old one was built nicer, or at least stapled together, the pieces of wood and stuff. So I definitely can. I just, it'll probably actually be something I do this weekend because I took old TV cabinets out, old TV cabinet and coffee table. And I still have to get those taken down to the curb. I took about half of the TV cabinet down. I try to be nice to the trash guys. They never not taken when I've put a whole bunch of stuff down there. And thankfully, with the trash people here, they don't grief me, which is nice of them. They certainly could, because I certainly push the limits. But for me, it's like, there'll be like 2 weeks in a row where I don't put down a can at all. And then when I had roommates here, we'd always, have trash out and whatnot. But now I have such little amounts because it's just myself that if I have a large amount, I don't feel nearly as bad because of that. But we'll see if I can do, we'll see if I can do 110. It should be fine. And no problem, Ben. I was just kind of going past your shenanigans, but unfortunately, you don't really even crack like the top 10 of weirdest things I've heard on one of these live streams. So you're pretty on par for what I see. We've been delved into religion, politics, all kinds of weird stuff. There was 2 people role playing in the last live stream. That like someone was being chased or something. That was very bizarre. I was warming up. I wasn't even looking. Like there was 2 people here, and they're just, oh no, he's catching me, blah blah blah, and they're going back and forth for like 20 minutes. It was very entertaining because it was very very weird. But yeah, saying weird stuff. It's pretty on par. I bring out the weirdos. Do I serve? No, I am a phys ed teacher. Although it's probably the text is probably backwards, so it's hard to probably read, unless you're dyslexic. Maybe I don't think dyslexic would allow you to read letters backwards. it would just mix up the order of it a little bit. But yeah, yeah, not the cool weird, just the weird weird. Let's do that. I'm not trying to do volume. My left quad feels really bizarre though. It's like the upper part of it is like not sore, but like I feel it. And I'm not used to feeling my quads when I do anything. Like delete, or just like disable for a little bit. Based on the disassociate. I'll just remove that. I mean, it's not really a difficult answer when you ask people, why do you got rid of? Because like I deleted Facebook, probably actually years ago. Honestly, I'm glad I did. Not because I stopped using it and I was like, I might as well just delete this. I just had like nostalgia on there that I didn't like from like high school and all of that jazz. I was like, I don't want to see that. So I'll just delete it, and then it's peeved my sister because she still uses it and she can't like send invites or like, it's a guy put on Facebook, you're not on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, you got my phone number though. Like, she has my Instagram. You have my phone number. If there's something I need to know, you gotta just text me or message me on Instagram. But yeah, I don't blame you for deleting Instagram. Is it because of your wrist, or is it just like over, just like social media in general? Mm. See, that's where you gotta take that anger, set to 10 in the squat. I know I was in the same boat there when I was letting my shoulder get better, so I just brutalized myself with squat volume. It was That's how I solve most of my problems. Now I'm pulling my. That's where you are different. I would just keep lifted through it. Like, ow, I'm broke. Guess I'll just go until I hear. The only time I truly ever like stop is if I have like shooting pain. That is like I can't really lift through that. It actually happened a couple days ago with a jerk. As I dipped down, I felt like my knee a little bit, and it was like probably. I mean, I probably just had cartilage or something. It wasn't. Obviously I front squatted heavy today without any issue. But like if I feel something that's like, ooh, and I'm like, all right, I'm out, I'm done. But like if something just hurts, I just keep hurting myself like a maniac. Uh, yeah, the back. When the back's messed up, that's for sure. What's like the couple of back spasms I've had are just like debilitating. And the last one I had wasn't even while I was lifting or anything. It was literally just sitting on the couch. Felt it coming on, tried to lay on the floor, and it just tightened up. Like I got stabbed in the back with a sword, and then it stayed there for like a week. I mean, a back thing too, it's like, it's tricky because you have to, my stack is right here of just knee wraps. But it's a difficult thing because it doesn't, it truly won't get better for, like, it takes a while for back stuff to really clear up. And honestly, I mean, like, if you're still hiking and still doing stuff, like moving in general, that's honestly the best thing you can do. Not doing anything I mean, there's obviously, like, if you can't move, there's obviously limits to that, but like movement is usually the best medicine. And if you can still move and stuff, and then it will eventually, I mean, it will either heal or you can just still be moving in a healthy way. But oh no, it's hard with. I mean, the back it kind of limits a lot of what you can do and move around with. Mm-hmm. And then as I mean, as you get more comfortable, I would say like as you're getting more consistent with being able to move, and then if your back loosens up, you can add in some light pulls and then see how those feel, and then really kind of by the point that you're pulling without any discomfort, you can work on that and dabble in a squat, just slowly add that stuff back in, as you desire. But yeah, I mean, I get people not wanting to do weightlifting. I don't ever feel bad if someone's like I quit. Like anyone I've ever known that in my personal life that has done weightlifting or tried it has stopped. So it doesn't, it's not shocking. And I haven't known a ton of people, but like a lot of people stop. It's hard to do, and it's difficult to maintain that. But just exercise in general is just good to do. Besides that, um, you still have the equipment because you can still use it. You're still gonna be able to do squats and pull. Even if you quit weightlifting entirely, that's like all the stuff in here. Like the most useless thing I have are the blocks. Like those, if I didn't weightlift, are pretty useless to have. But having that equipment is nice because at the end of the day, you won't have an excuse if you want to do some sort of exercise. You have the ability to do pull ups or even overhead press. Even if you went out and did arms, like you have that facility that's there, and eventually you do get better. You feel better, and if you're like me in any capacity, you'll have the itch to start doing the lifts in some sort of capacity or doing squats and pulls and stuff like that. And even if you don't feel the desire to snatch a clean jerk or whatever, and you just end up doing light squats or whatever, like that's just generally healthy to do. Um, but no, I it's a good investment because I don't know if you've told me how old you are. I don't think you're older than me, but like you can lift your whole life. Because my plan is weightlift until I can't, then to squat and deadlift and press until I can't, and then deadlift. By then I'll be dead. So it's kind of my whole plan. Yeah, you're 28. You'll be all right. But you just gotta give it time. Cause the hardest thing is that like mentally, when you still want to do the lifts or like you want to progress, like it's hard when your body doesn't let you. Because when a couple of times I've hurt my wrist, and when I've had that like wrist things, it's really frustrating. Actually, good comparison is right after last year this time when I hurt my shoulder. Like I had every desire, I could squat, pull, clean, but like I could not snatch more than like 70, 75, 80 was like a PR because I just literally could not get, and it didn't even hurt, which was the most annoying thing. But it was literally like because of the injury, I didn't have the mobility to turn over and get back, and that took a while. And it was like to the point where I was like, I might just might not work, and I had to kind of cope with the fact that it's like I'm gonna keep trying, but like I might have messed up. I might have like jacked up my shoulder in a way, and I'm not. I'm at the I'm of the mindset that if like I had like a really bad upper body injury or any sort of like lifting injury that was like I would have to get this crazy surgery or whatever. Like if it was like my arm exploded and I needed to get surgery, like I would, but like I would have stopped weightlifting. Like it it's important to me, but like I don't want to rehab for a year to come back to do the same numbers I'm doing now. And like I feel like if I had like some sort of catastrophic, and not even so much like a shoulder like I had like a soft tissue type thing, I'm like really catastrophic, like it's just squat and pull. And if I can press, then I'll press, and it's just get absolutely yacked at that point. But I like lifting. I like having something to work towards, and with running or pull ups, like you can still find things to work towards, and um, well, and make. I mean, physique wise, like pull ups will be really good too. But mm-hmm. My favorite drug is caffeine. Use it every day. But you have to just have patience, and then I mean, if you're dumb like me, you keep bashing your head against the wall until your body just accepts that it's going to work, or you're smart and you build back slowly, and you do what you can hard. So like, if your wrist and back everything is bad, you talk about doing pull ups. You can probably do overhead presses or really work on your shoulders in general, and that's just gonna like aesthetically, it's gonna for bodybuilding purposes probably look good, but also like it's just good in general to do. And then you can if you're doing pull ups and stuff, you're gonna be working on your back anyway, which is gonna strengthen that area. And then you could really hammer mobility too. That's kind of one not really advantage, but one thing you can kind of go crazy with is you don't have to worry about like are you overstretching or are you doing too much or whatever with that. You can kind of go crazy with that and try to get your legs and upper back and shoulders and everything really limber. So, um, you know, but most things pass. I mean, there's always a chance. That's why I'm a K2 phys ed teacher, so I'm not clearly a doctor, but there's always a chance that you severely destroyed your back. But like if you're having plans of like pull ups and running and you're still able to move and like you're not having like crazy shooting pain, like you're probably not gonna die. And I don't say that to be like an a hole about it, but like you're probably gonna be okay. Like it's not like you have a your cervical your spine is like dislocated or something crazy like that. Like it's probably a soft tissue type thing. Um, you never know. That's why I'm not a doctor, but that's how I always kind of treat it. Like if I'm able to kind of move, even if it hurts through a range of motion, then I know it's probably not like a crazy injury, even if it doesn't feel really good or if I can't. For instance, like when I had like a wrist thing, or even when my shoulder is messed up, like I could force my body to hold that position and it didn't hurt. So it wasn't like it was literally here and I physically couldn't get it back there. I had to work at it, but it would go back there and I could hold a bar and I could start pressing behind the neck and just hold it there. And it was fine. And it's same with like wrist thing. It's like if I could hold the bar, even if it hurt, then it was all right. If it was broken or if I had like a crazy, if it was like shooting, and ISS pain is usually like, does it hurt or is it like shooting pain? Shooting pain, I don't mess with because that's just, I don't know how people could live through that because to me, it's like, it's playing like Russian roulette and it's just, I can't commit to a lift if I have the idea that there's going to be like some sort of jolt of pain. But, um, I feel a tremendous difference, Daniel. I feel so much better in heeled shoes, and that was even before weightlifting. I'm able to use my back a lot more, or I'm able to keep my back upright a lot more and use my legs a lot more. Feels so much more natural for me, and it just puts. Even if I wasn't weightlifting, like I would 100% use weightlifting shoes. I'm longer limbs, so it just puts me in a better position to push through the squat and not just good morning it up, which I'm pretty much do anyway. But like it's obviously be more extreme without that healed. Hello, Marco. I'm in Italy too. I actually live in the house behind you. But um, with your what could be interesting too. So I haven't done this in years, but I don't know. Why I'm looking for it like it'd be out here. I mean, if I could find a pipe. No, but it's a PVC pipe wrist roller. I guess they're pretty common at gyms. Um, but wrist roller, doing that and that allows you to kind of work that forearm area and gets you like a crazy pump in your forearms. I don't know if that would bother your wrist, but that could be something that you could use as like a rehab type exercise. And if that is like, even if you have, because now we're getting into my history. So when I broke my arm in sixth grade, that was a few exercises my dad gave me to do as like rehab because I didn't go to rehab after for my arm because it was just nerve damage mostly. Honestly, I didn't really need it because it was purely these three fingers were just nerve damage. But I did the wrist roller. I had a tennis ball that I would squeeze. Um, I did that as well, and that was less so for the wrist itself because I broke my radius. But like obviously when you have a cast on for a while, like all my nerves and muscles were all weak. But tennis ball and maybe I'd be doing this, but that's more for dexterity. That's specifically because my nerves and everything were messed up. But the wrist roller too. I did that and started doing empty cans for baseball. So really light shoulder stuff. That was really the first like training I did or like weight stuff I did in general when I was in sixth grade, and it wasn't very serious. But that a lot of it, the wrist roller was a really good one. Um, but just the idea, like if you think like, all right, if you can't do the wrist roller with any amount of weight, you can get a resistance band and try to do that. If that doesn't, and that's really kind of actually how I approach it. So I'd find an exercise like that that is going to, if it feels better, you're going to be able to do. If it hurts, you can't do. So you're trying to progress and in a logical way. Like you're trying to get your wrist to go back to doing normal stuff. And so you can find all kinds of stuff. Like I would do one where I'm like trying to move my wrist around or massage in the area, and then just try to stretch it and whatnot, and then try to do the wristband, or a really light resistance with that motion. Maybe it's literally just the air, and then you have like a 2.5 pound plate, and you see if you can do that. And if that hurts, then that's where you work, and you kind of, I mean, you've lifted weights, so you kind of can assess like the amount of pain tolerance that you need to do that. Like obviously, if it's a 10, like you're not even gonna, you're just not doing it. But like if it's like a 2, you're like I could work through this, or I can at least like tolerate it. And being able to do that will, I mean, obviously work your muscles and stuff, but it will allow you to kind of go through that range of motion, because that's movement will cure a lot of ailments that you have as far as muscle stuff like that. But it's getting the ability to go through that range of motion, because obviously like when it's acute you don't want to do anything to aggravate it, but when we're working back through it, you have to be able to, I mean, that's, and you can kind of look at it too. It's like it's just like you want to be able to move your wrist in life. So it's not even like I gotta be able to do a front squat or catch a clean or a snatch. Like I just want my wrist to feel good for whatever random stuff that I got to do in the day. Getting up off the ground, um, high fiving my wife. Not my wife, although it'd be pretty funny if I was high fiving your wife. I think that would create a lot more issues. That would probably cure your wrist pretty good, because if I did that, you'd probably want to give me a nice knuckle sandwich. But you might want to get a wrist wrap on before you start throwing haymakers around. But um, like just thinking about like the range of motion that you want to achieve. So like moving your wrist around without any discomfort, and maybe it's literally just this for a couple days. You do your other stuff that you're gonna do, and then you have a dedicated time where you're just working on your wrist and just seeing if you can get it to move fine, and then you see if you can find a little plate, move that around, and then if that feels better, you get a wrist band, a really light band resistance, and you see if you can move that around, and it might even aggravate it. That's the thing that's tricky too, is like you may do a little bit and it might feel like, oh, I made it worse, but like it's part of the healing process as well, is like you might make it a little bit sore in that moment, but like then you want to assess like the next day, and you could kind of like, if it's really acute, like you can kind of just do it all the time until it feels better, or at least until you can progress to like what you view as the next step. So maybe it's just moving around, and you're massaging the forearm and the wrist and everything, and you can look up a million rehab videos, but you're just kind of working on everything that you can, and then eventually you're like, all right, I think I can add a little bit of resistance, and then you just eventually you just keep progressing from there. But it'll probably happen faster than you think in the long term sense, but it will feel like it's taking forever in the short term, because you'll just think, or at least want, that everything that you do will immediately help it. Um, can I crack my neck? I don't. When I was a kid, I used to be able to, but yeah, bands are nice. So I should do pulls too. No more front squats though. But yeah, wrist pain, like acute injuries are really obnoxious to deal with. But that's how I would go about it. Honestly, my wrists aren't even the best. That's why I always use wraps. But for me, I feel like it stabilizes enough, because if I don't have wraps on, then I kind of almost hyperextend, and it doesn't feel nice, and they don't feel very stable. But Could be what Dylan Cooper said. I'm just stretching out all the ligaments in my body. Yeah, Snatch deadlift earlier this week with 200. It felt pretty easy, but I didn't post it because it wasn't it wasn't really a PR or anything. Wristlet? that's a diabolical word that you made up. I throw the light knee wraps on because I'm old. I don't know if I'll go. Maybe I'll go to 200 again. I wrote it on the paper, but I've been known to ignore what I write down. Certainly no more than 200 though. But yeah, the front squat for me, I think, will help with the clean and jerk, making that feel better. That's probably one reason why I didn't feel good the other day. Because my front squat isn't. Well, I mean, now it is, but like, I hadn't done it for a little bit. My triceps are sore. Nice. Huh. Getting yacked from hypertrophy work. See, I can't do that at my job because I work with children. You can't make fun of the kids. It's usually frowned upon. Usually a one-way street. They can make fun of you, but you can't make fun of them. Probably the funniest injury though I've had in the last year was my big toe, where I dropped a weight on it. I still have a bump from it, so I probably actually jacked it up, but and I still feel it sometimes. Like if I go just earlier today, I went for a walk, and I felt it just a tiny bit. Like I noticed it, but it doesn't. I don't notice it on any lift. But I'm like, I probably messed up because I think it was a 20-kilo plate, and I dropped it in between joints. So I don't know what I did to it, but it did not feel good, and it was messed up for a little bit. But it was weird because I couldn't clean and jerk because your back foot's bent pretty rapidly after I could, but when I first did it, I could still do all the other lifts I was doing, but I could not do a jerk. Ugh. So don't drop weights on your toes. Your toes don't like it. Ooh. Reed, you don't have to worry about that. It happens. Injuries are, I would dare say they're not even just a part of lifting, it's a part of life. It's like the whole meme of people people talk about your knees hurting or this or that. You're like, oh, when you're lifting, occasionally see it's oh, your knees are gonna hurt when you're older. I don't know. I don't honestly remember a time where I haven't had some sort of joint pain, ever. When I was in 5th grade, I had Augenslag or whatever that knee thing is. So I had knee discomfort in 5th grade. So I'm I probably, it wasn't generalized like it is now, but I'm even then, as soon as I hit puberty, I was kind of always going through it. And I'm sure there's, ebbs and flows, and there's times where, you can do basically you don't have to warm up and you can go full speed and, stuff like that when you're younger. But I was like, I kind of always been jacked, and broke my arm in 6th grade, and then played baseball and stuff. So like, there's always aches and pains from baseball and basketball, and it's like twisted my ankle a whole bunch of times. I don't know how I have the mobility I have in the bottom of a squat with how many times I've rolled my ankles over the years, but maybe I've stretched out the ligaments. That's probably that's the secret to having good ankle mobility is roll your ankles dozens of times. Force the adaptation through trauma. It's kind of like how ballerinas get really flexible. They stretch to a painful extent. I just went to the next level and just stretched my ligaments. Oh. Like a Chad. Now, if only I did that to my shoulders too, so I'd have really good shoulder mobility. Thanks. What's funny too is by far the worst ankle sprain was never as a kid, ever like running full speed and rolling it in basketball or landing on someone or anything like that. But the worst one I had, and I probably, because I think it's grade 3 is where you actually like tear ligaments and stuff, and it's like actually like you need surgery. So I think I probably did grade 2, because grade it's inverse one way or the other. I always forget if it's like 3 is the worst or 1 is the worst, but I definitely had like the middle, and it was teetering on like being severe. But it was before I had my knee scoped in college, and my dad had said, "Don't do anything. Stop. You're done. Like quit moving. Like quit doing anything. You're gonna get your knee scoped." And I had this, the scope scheduled and all of that. So I had like a month and just don't do anything. Um, because the kind of pain I was experiencing actually wasn't. It was very frustrating because I could do everything, but then it would have random twinges, and the twinges I would have would be like a gunshot. Like I couldn't just 100% 10 out of 10 pain for like a millisecond, and then it would go right away. And it was cartilage that was catching on a joint or whatever, but like it would go 100 to 0, and then sometimes it's like playing Russian roulette. Anytime I'd be doing an explosive movement, but you know because I don't listen, I was playing a half court game of basketball, and it was probably 50% effort game, like really casual. Nobody's trying. I'm walking backwards, not running, not playing defense, literally just doing that. Rolled my right ankle so bad that I couldn't walk the next day. I couldn't eat breakfast the next day because I couldn't walk out of my dorm room. And it wasn't even like, oh, I can't do it. My ankle was so swollen. It was purple. I stood up, but I was like, I literally can't move. Like I'm gonna get to the cafeteria and then be stuck there all day long. And remember laying on the floor and just put my foot up in the air just to help drain some of or at least try to drain some of the swelling out. But that was so bad. And what told me that I probably did something more serious to it, because I got mobility and everything back, or at least the ability to walk obviously back. So it wasn't as if that took forever. But my Achilles, and I guess in turn my whole ankle, was super tight. And this honestly is probably a bigger reason why I have good ankle mobility. One, it's probably natural genetic in general, but when I had messed up my ankle like that, I could not. I could sit in a full squat, but my Achilles, that whole calf area, was super tight, and so I just stretched that area like downward dog. I would do that all the time, just until I had that full comfortability and that full range of motion to sit and like because I guess with baseball, like a catcher sitting in that full squat like that. So I've always wanted, or I've always knew like had that range of motion, and so like when that was like that, I could still kind of get into that full squat, but it was super tight on that side, and I wasn't squatting or I wasn't. I don't think I had started powerlifting, or maybe I had just started at that point, but like it was really tight. It didn't hurt. It's like a tight muscle, but yeah, I was able to get that back. But probably, I mean, all that stretching too, probably honestly had a good impact as well. But I've always like leg wise been pretty mobile, hamstrings wise. But an ACL sprain? You mean an AC joint? But oh yeah, I mean like I think the only reason I don't think that it was like the extreme version, like where you have ligaments and stuff, is that I was able to like start walking and stuff. Like it was Saturday, the day after. I still remember it was Saturday. I remember very distinctly because I couldn't move and I wanted to eat breakfast, but I couldn't eat breakfast. Um, but I was able to start walking and stuff pretty quickly after that, and recover fine. So if I had truly like really jacked up my ankle, like I probably still have pain from it now, or would have had pain, like actual pain for months and had actual issues with it. But no, I got very lucky. But I think probably the only reason I got really lucky with it was because of the way that I sprained it. I was moving at very low velocity, and it was mostly my body weight that had injured it. If I was truly like going full speed and I had done something like that, I probably would have just broke my foot or something. Like if I had had more any more force in it, it was truly like 50% effort doesn't even like describe. I was literally like casually walking backwards and just rolled my ankle, and it was actually kind of funny in hindsight now looking back. Or it was like a 3 versus 3 or 4 versus 4, and teams were even. We're just playing casual basketball, not competitive. Destroyed my ankle, just absolutely assassinate myself, and we're not trying. It's not an intense game. I was like, I have to go. Like I'm like I have to like I can't play, and I'm like limping out, and like I knew it was bad because it hurt so bad at the moment, but like it was funny because I could see them as I was walking out. They're like, "What do you even do?" Like they probably thought I was being dramatic, or like I had kind of ruined it because it wasn't like a busy time at the gym, so it was just a couple people there, and I made the teams uneven, which I felt bad about. But like I literally just from all the stuff I thought about before, like I'll work through a lot of pain, but like that was like I can't move. Like I need to get back to my room because I don't know if I can leave it again. It was a one way walk, one way gimp back to the room. Which now that I think about it, it was a pretty decent long walk with my ankle like actually destroyed. I remember leaving. They're like, oh, I could just, I could see them being um, not like Tom Segura. No, that was when I broke my arm in fifth or sixth grade. Was it fifth? No, it was fifth grade. So sorry, fake information. It was actually fifth grade. Um, but that age frame. Sixth grade, I dealt. It was the end of fifth grade, so that's why I'm thinking it was sixth grade. Because it ruined my it ruined a lot of my baseball season. Believe it or not, when you can't use your throwing arm and then all your fingers are jacked up, it probably honestly derailed a lot of my baseball progression. But that's neither here nor there. Um, but this radius bone in fifth grade, I was jumping off a stool, went slid off the stool, went backwards to catch myself. This bone here, it broke. So if this is my radius, it went like that. So my arm was like chilling up here. But it was just my radius. So my wrist didn't break, my ulna didn't break, nothing in my wrist got messed up, like I said, or my elbow or anything. Literally just the radius, and it was a clean break. And that was a Tom Segura definitely type moment. It was crazy looking, and I remember John Roberts, and I don't mind doxing him because that's too common of a name. But I remembered when I did that and looking up, my arm disfigured, and I remember asking, and maybe this is I'm gaslighting my memory, but I truly remember I was in so much shock at that moment. I'm like, oh no! I looked, and I'm like, oh, it's it's broke, it's messed up, and I remember asking, not telling John. I said, "Can you grab my stool, or can you grab the stool, or something?" Like I remember asking a question, and my arm is disfigured, and I'm running back into my house because I just did it on my cul-de-sac right next to my house, and his face is imprinted on my memory forever. Understandably, just like I mean, like he saw someone's arm explode. Like it was, it was it was bad. Go in the house, Mom, my arm's broke. Ah! She's a nurse. She starts screaming, freaking out because my arm is jacked up. It is grotesque looking. My it wasn't a compound fracture though. That was the other kind of unique thing. The bone stayed in the arm, which is good because I probably maybe I don't know how I reacted, but I don't know. I was in so much shock, but I was just in so much pain. My dad comes in, gets a peanut butter box, duct tape it around my arm to make like a splint. He's a was an athletic trainer for like 10 years, maybe even more. But he was a phys ed, or he is a phys ed teacher, and he was an athletic trainer for like the first 10 years of his teacher career, maybe longer. But um, has dealt with traumatic injuries like that, in a sports context. And so wraps it up. He's calm as a cucumber. You would have thought he was a 10-year surgeon. My mom is a nurse, works in a hospital. Like now she works at home, but like had worked in the hospital for years and years, was absolutely losing her mind. Um, my dad's calm as a cucumber, and um, yeah, that was. I would say it's funny in hindsight because now when you think of the memories, you don't remember the pain. Um, hey, appreciate it, Reed. I'm just doing some pulls. I thought you're. I read that as like you're gonna go do some dips. I like, I don't, maybe not with your wrist, but have fun watching the basketball. Hopefully, your Bucks win. But no, I don't watch UFC. But whatchamacallit? Yeah, just my dad. I just remember him being super calm the whole time, and my mom just like losing her mind. But like, I was in so much pain, and if you want to know the exact date that I broke my arm, it was the last game of the year for the Cleveland Cavaliers in whatever year that they had LeBron James and they went 40 and 42 and just missed the playoffs. I believe it was his second year, but if you look up that date, that is literally the day I broke my arm because I was in the hospital getting morphine, maximum dosed in, and I was watching it on TV going, because I'm a Cleveland fan, oh no, they didn't make the playoffs, and I was zonked. I mean, I was in so much pain, but like I distinctly remember seeing that. Um, so actually, I don't want to say it's necessarily that day, but it was that moment, or it was like the day before or day after, because it could have been like a Sports Center highlight. Because I was high as a kite on all the morphine and adrenaline. Um, uh, my arm was also in an L, so not a good time for me. And they didn't make the playoffs. Like, what's worse than that? Your arm's destroyed. I'm in so much pain, and Cavs only make the playoffs. But um, yeah, that was a rough year. It was a good year of school though. I remember Mrs. Carp. She's got to be retired at this point, but she was awesome. I always brought my basketball in her class and would sit in the back of the room and always take it out to recess. Not that that's like a radical thing, nice for a teacher to do, but I remember always doing that, Miss Carp, and I'd grab it every day for recess, go play Thunder and Lightning or Knockout. We always called it Thunder and Lightning for whatever reason. I waited way too long to do this pool. Didn't feel too bad though. It's like I'm only good at doing pulls. It's like I can't make pulls go bad. I could talk for 7 minutes and not warm up and they feel okay. I sneeze and I hurt myself in a back squat. Well, I hope so. It's only 100 kilos. But yeah, Hills Danny, you should look up what date that was. So the year the Cleveland Cavaliers went 40 and 42. So I forget what year that was. Or the date, but I mean that was this would be pretty close to now. Or at least this time of year. So I think they're getting close to the end of the basketball season. Jamie, get on that. Alright, so we'll expedite this process a little bit. I'm enjoying my spring break a little bit too much. It's actually at 14 likes on this live stream. That's wild. I certainly didn't earn it. Remember to use my other straps. These ones always get messed up on the knurling. Although they work better. They work more better. Oh, I did it. 2004, 2000, so it's 2005. Oh, thanks, Jamie. You've been deputized as my, as my researcher. It's a job you didn't sign up for, but it's one that you have. Got 2 phones out here, but I can't use either one to research. Jamie, pull that up. How did the aliens build pyramids? Jamie, pull that up. You know what's crazy is we have the same first name then, because Jaime in Spanish is James. But when I picked a Spanish name, and it's a history, all my history. But 9th grade Spanish, you pick your Spanish name. It was either 9th or 10th grade, one of the years. But I used Jaime because that's the, how Juan is John and Jose is Joe. Jaime is James, so I picked Jaime. I think one year I picked Fernando, but Jaime was the one I picked. But do you spell it like that, or do you spell it Jaime? I thought it was spelled different. But I ain't never the best speller, so when you're really good at reading by sight, you don't learn how to spell as well. I never was bad at spelling, but I never needed phonics or anything to get to learn how to read. I was a very natural sight reader, so spelling is never as natural. But dude, that's Daniel. I don't like how you made that up, and somehow you're my stalker, but you're researching a little too well, Jamie. Jaime. That'll be our podcast. You'll be Daniel, but I'll call you Jaime. You don't know Spanish, you don't look Spanish maybe. So it's just a running joke. And anytime you research, it's quickly and poorly done. So we can spread as much misinformation as we can. I could certainly yap for a podcast. I don't know what I would ever do one about. Almost snatched it. I'll save it though. I'll save it for later. As much fun as cold snatching 140 would be. That's true. That would be. See, for me, part of my retirement plan, once I'm like 75, is that's when I start all the, young people, they like to experiment and do all the different substances and stuff. Like, I'm gonna do that when I'm 75. Because, like, you could justify it because, like, what if I get addicted to something when I'm 75, when I'm gonna be 78? Like, there's no, I'm wasting the rest of my life. Like, it's all downhill once you hit that age. But also, like, I'd have to imagine that life would be pretty painful at that point. Just being that old. And it'd probably feel a little bit better if you are, doing all stuff. That's what I don't understand is like when you're young, you should want to be as locked in, or at least, within reason, but like you should want to get the most out of what you can physically do. I guess some people don't care about that, but like I'd rather push myself physically when I'm younger. And then when you're really old and your body's just, a husk waiting to die, to just grind it to a pulp. I mean, you see so many old people that just they don't live healthy lives when they're old, and it's genetic once you get to a certain point. But I'll be really salty if I hit like 72 and I'm like, all right, 3 years, and then we go hog wild and I have a heart attack or something. I'm gonna be upset. Right, right as my heart's stopping, I'm gonna be flicking off the world. But I kind of remember your profile picture, I think, but like, yeah, maybe not in the. I don't. I mean, there's enough airflow in here to where I could, but yeah, it would make it not pleasant for a while, I'm sure. I've thought about putting like candles and stuff out here, but I know like there's enough airflow where I wouldn't suffocate, but I also don't trust. It's kind of like the same reason I take off the plate each side when I'm taking weights off the bar. What's in the squat rack? Like, I know the physics would say that the bar's not going to fly off, but my brain does not trust the physics. Hey, you can't be spilling the beans on my secrets. That's my retirement plan. I'm gonna be in great shape, and I'm gonna be down the party at that point. Like I said, 75. I'm partying every day. I'm going hog wild. I'm holding out. I gotta live healthy till then. Hold it all in, and then just go crazy. I will be an absolute maniac at that point. I don't know why you want to watch a Minecraft movie. I don't. It's like, is that movie doing well? Like, I feel like it's. I feel like that movie is performing well, but I don't. I haven't watched a movie in years. Or at least I haven't got to a movie theater since before COVID. That wasn't even so much like a COVID thing. I didn't never went to movies anyway. But I don't know if it's just a meme that it's doing well, or if it's actually like performing well. I don't have any desire to see a Minecraft movie in general though, because it seems like it's for kids. But I also never played Minecraft, so I don't. It's not relevant. But maybe it's doing well because there are a lot of older people, adults that have played it, and then kids that are now. So it's kind of like it's a kids movie, I'm sure, but it's generalized enough to appeal to adults and kids. I don't know though. I've never understood the interest with Minecraft. I guess building, but I never really liked how the animation looked. Yeah, yarg. There's an RP pirate. RP yarg. It is unironically how I'd write RP down. RP, yikes. RP, not too bad. So masculine. I, I want to make. I'm gonna be some guy on a Florida news story. I'll be like retirement guy. you know, it's on bath salts, walking in traffic, talking about how vascular his arms are. Like that's gonna be me. 75. Gotta be watching the news then. Like I don't know. I don't know why you're trying to talk to me about Minecraft. Alright, so I guess we'll just do the 200 again eventually. Unless this 180 feels really, really disgusting. We'll do this. The most is still 200 though. There's the plate. We need the plates because we want to eat. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Alright, 180. I think because I'm going to go heavy on Saturday, I'm not going to do volume today. So I'm going to do 200. And I can justify that because I did front squats today. No, I won't be doing a live tomorrow. So I'll probably just do really light stuff. So nothing that I'll care to go live, but one more pull though. Maybe we do this for a double though. We do it for a double, eh? Para dos. Uno más pull. Now here's Daniel. Did we do it for a double? The single I did earlier this week, pretty easy. Thanks, Vic. Which, you can kind of say yes or no. I'm probably going to do a double anyway. So it's best just to agree with me because it's going to happen. But thanks, Vic. It makes sessions, I don't want to say that are boring better, but makes the difficult things a little bit easier when I don't really want to do them. That's diabolical right there. The triple. Take the glasses off. That's actually diabolical. That's don't agree with me for a double, do a triple. That's toxic. I like it. All right. All right. I mean, if the first one does feel bad, we're not gonna do a double. I don't know if triple's happening though. Need ghost hands though. I'm gonna step over the bar, give myself good luck. Little drum and bass to disassociate to. Yeah. That's pretty. Some might say, I'm good at deadlifts. I wish I could front squat that for a triple like that. That would actually be useful. I have all this useless pulling strength. Kawaii razor blades. Hills Daniel, it's a problem. I was like, I'm gonna do 5. I was like, no. Nani. I don't need to. I don't need to wreck myself with pulls. But yeah, actually, it was pretty easy. They all felt. I mean, I'm sure my hips were up, but like, I didn't feel like I was really grinding on any of them either, which is good too. But yeah, when I lift Saturday, it might. Well, I'm gonna go heavy on a snatch and clean and jerk, so I'm gonna be in a different gym when I'm traveling home, and whatchamacallit, I might squat and pull on that day too. 200 kilos, so 440. Like, it's my whole body hypertrophy doing that. And my legs actually feel like my quads a little bit, which is bizarre. I don't have legs. I don't have guns. I don't have any weapons. No weapons, Vic. I have what every Democrat wants for every household, a gun-free household. Although I'm more scared of guns than I am against them. Alright. Oh! This is why I hate pulls. This is why I hate deadlifts, right here. All those stupid weights on the bar still. Thankfully, I'm like an NASCAR pit crew and I can get the weight off super fast. But thankfully out here I can just roll it back to spots. I don't have to carry it back to the racks when I'm at the gym. That is truly the worst part. When I got the powerlifting plates out and I got to pick them up. Those suckers are heavy. We're gonna leave that red on for a second so I can clean la bar. Limpia la bar. I'm pretty good at speaking Spanish, and I learned that I would tell kids as a joke joking, but I would say, "Que hiciste?" Which I thought was, "What are you doing?" Like the present tense, but hiciste is actually past tense. So it's like, "What have you done?" Which honestly is more hilarious because I'd always say it in like a joking manner. "What did you do? What have you done?" I had a student. I think she's a genius because she's like, "My parents speak a little bit of Spanish at the house." I was like, "Oh, te hablo español?" She's like, "Yeah." But I started talking to her in Spanish, and she's just replying like I'm speaking in English, and she's replying in English, but like very fluently understanding what I'm saying as if I'm speaking English to her. And then she corrected me, the tense. She's like, "You said what? What did you do?" You would say, "Que estás haciendo?" That's the correct way. I was like, oh, you're fluent. You're, and she's, and often like kids will, speak Spanish when they're, because I think she's a second grader. Actually, I forget if she's first or second, but usually when kids are that little, they're not 100% fluent in one and another. But I think she is. I think she is. And then she was like, I was talking to her because I could tell like she had a deep understanding of the language. About what I kind of struggled with was like that, like, because when she corrected me, I was like, that's what I struggle with is like the tenses. um yeah, push presses are good for that. Usually push presses like right after back squats feel really good. But I was talking to her about like how I struggled at the different tenses, and like how like I was pretty good at the conjugations. If you say like I play or you play, it's juego or juegas or whatever. I was like, I was pretty good at understanding that, but it's like once it got to like the tenses, then like, and I wasn't sure like how deeper understanding of grammar is, because like conjugations is something that I didn't even understand until I took Spanish in high school, like what that wasn't even in English. Um, but she pretty really quickly grasped it, because she was like, "Is it like that in like Italian? Like, is there conjugation? Is it is there rules like that in like every language?" I was like, "Yeah, I think there is. Like, it's different, but like there kind of is like grammar and rules and all of that, verbs that get conjugated in different ways in different languages." But yeah, she asked about Italian. I was like, "Oh yeah," she's gonna speak 5 languages by the time she's in middle school and be fluent in all of them. But it sounded like she had a Portugal shirt on one day, so I wonder if she has multiple languages at the house. But yeah, you could tell some kids just grasp it really fast, and a lot of kids who are like 100% non-English at first. So we'll see those kids sometimes because they're kindergarten or whatever, English pretty quick. Well, it's hard to tell how well they can like understand grammar and all the other more complicated stuff of languages. But yeah, she is very advanced, which is pretty cool. Because it's probably the first kid that I could attempt to speak Spanish with, and she can not only correct me, but she can understand it and speak in English fluently. And it's not like my poor grammar in Spanish. She'll be able to understand it, but also be able to might improve my Spanish a little bit. So, not that I'm gonna necessarily seek out children to speak Spanish with, but it's kind of a neat thing to experience. And I assume it probably happens more so as kids get older. But most of the time, if I had an older kid that spoke mostly Spanish, they didn't speak much English. But anywho, enough rambling about that. No más ejercicios hoy para mí. Yo necesito comer más comida. Tengo, actually not hungry, but I will be. Tengo hambre in soon. I don't know how to say that, but I've rambled on long enough. You can see the top of the shed. I have tons of space up there. That's why I never hit the ceiling for anything. But that's it for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me, Hills Daniel. Big front squat, big pull. So really productive session. And tomorrow will probably be really light stuff, maybe a muscle snatch or two, and then some band work, a lot of mobility. But really happy with that. So setting up for at least being strong. Even if I lift poorly at the competition, like I'm at least going to be strong enough to lift poorly. I'm not going to be missing weights because I'm weak, which could always happen, but hopefully not. All right, deuces.